Welcome to the Bite Size Brilliance Podcast. I'm your host, April Darley, and this is a little follow up episode because last week we talked about the difference between help versus rescuing. So make sure you check that out. And today I want to deal a little bit more with the asking for help portion of that because I feel like that these two episodes go hand in hand together. And that's a big sticking point for a lot of people. And recently, I have had a situation come up in my own life where I have asked for help and not received it. So, what do you do with that? That is one reason that stops people from asking for help in the first place, because at some point in time, maybe they tried to do the brave thing, which was ask for help, and nobody showed up for them. And that made them feel so terrible that they withdrew, and it creates this hyper independence where you're like, I'm not going to ask for help because there's nobody else out there that's going to give it to me, and I need to do it all myself. So let's get in and start unwinding this ball of shame and stuff that is all about the concept of help. Now, some people are afraid to ask for help in the first place because of this societal view that we have that you should be able to do everything all on your own. And if you can't, then there's something wrong with you. You are weak and vulnerable. And if you need help, nobody is supposed to know about it because if you're weak and vulnerable, then you're open to attack. And that sort of feeling or thought process is often created by trauma, childhood trauma especially, and you will become hyper independent as a result. But as I said in the last episode, not a single one of us on this planet has done it all alone. We, at some point in our lives, needed help and got it. And we have given help when someone else needed it. We are not an island, and there is no possible way, even if you wanted to, that you could go through this life from A to Z without help. It's not going to work, my friend. In fact, not asking for help can be a major sabotage to getting things done easier, faster, and smarter in your life. And I think it takes a lot of courage to ask for help because so many people out there might view it as vulnerable or weak. I don't, right? I think it is one of the most courageous things that you can do is to put yourself out there. And somebody is going to show up. Because here's the other interesting thing about help. In the business world, if you are a salesperson, you know that everything is a numbers game. And statistically, only 1% of people actually step up and buy from you if you're selling a product. So if you sell this product and 1,000 people see this product, then you're only going to get 1% of people that buy. And that's a very low number. And you might be looking at that number and going, what is the point? It is so much effort for so little return. But every business, every industry, the average, a minimum is 1%. And if you're doing really great, you get 2 to 3%. And if it goes viral, you might get a massive number above that. But if you look at asking for help like a numbers game, not everyone is going to say yes. Just like my situation, I need a battery changed out for my lawnmower. It's the craziest thing. And I know exactly how to do it. But there is a bolt stuck on the battery that I have tried several different solutions and I cannot get it off myself. I need someone who's got more knowledge, more tools, and is stronger than me to do that. So I asked for help. I have asked two people, and they both said, yes, of course, we'll help you with that. And then promptly ghosted me. So, what do you do when that happens to you? It's incredibly frustrating. So here's what that means. If you asked for help and somebody says no, or they initially agree and then ghost you, there's a couple things that could be going on. Number one, they don't really want to do it anyway. but they're people pleasers. They were trying to be nice. So they initially said yes, don't really want to. And then they're ghosting you as their own coping mechanism because they are not brave enough to tell you the truth, which is, I'm too busy, or the answer is just no. So that's one thing. But if we look at it as a numbers game, those are not the only two people I can ask. I can go ask more. And the difference is, I don't make that mean anything emotionally about myself. I'm not putting stories in my head that says they don't love me, they don't value me, they don't trust me, they're letting them down. So I also have to flip that and not let myself get angry or frustrated about it, because if I can view this from a compassionate way, they might be really busy. They might want to do it, but they just forgot, right? So I have to not make that about me, going, I'm not important enough for them to remember, because that's a trap. Or they have so much going on in their own life that they have no spoons left for me. They have no bandwidth, no emotional space left for my little lawnmower problem, because that is not a problem in their life. It's only my problem. And nobody else has to make your problems their problems. They are not obligated to do that. So if you get a no or you get a ghost, move on. Don't make it mean anything about them or you. Don't try to put a story in your head about what is the matter, what's going wrong, what's the problem. Just move on. It's a numbers game. And if you truly run out of people to ask, then you might have to hire someone, right? You might have to put your money where your mouth is. And they're guaranteed, there are lawnmower repair people out there that I can hire. And that is my next step, to come in and do what I'm not physically able to do myself. And you got to tell your ego, this doesn't mean anything, ego. You really tried. I'm a smart person. I know what I'm doing. I just don't have the tools or the leverage to get the job done. Doesn't mean anything awful about myself or about you. And there are people out there that specialize in lawnmower repair, and those are the experts. And when you're going to ask for help, ask an expert, right? I know that lawnmower repair person can probably come out and have it popped off in a short amount of time, and I'll be a happy camper again. So if you feel like I have no friends, I have nowhere to turn, that is a story that you want to stop in its tracks. One thing you can do is YouTube, right? I learned how to change that lawnmower battery through YouTube. When I hit that first roadblock of that nut and bolt is stuck, there is a fabulous Facebook group out there. I'm not affiliated with them. I am a member of the group, and it's called Handy Women. And it's all about women tackling their own maintenance issues. So, shout out to Handy Women. I posted my problem on there and I got several different solutions to try. And I did try a few of those, and it still didn't solve my problem, which is why I'm at the next step of, I'll probably have to hire somebody. But if you feel like you have no friends, nowhere left to turn, this is the great part about social media and the internet. You can always find options on there. But in the end, you got to do what you got to do. If you're out of people to ask, hire an expert. If you feel the money isn't there and you don't have the money to hire an expert, then you might want to barter with someone. Is there someone else that you can ask? Maybe you raise chickens and you have eggs, and your neighbor is not someone you normally talk to, but you explain the situation and you maybe give them a dozen eggs for their trouble, right? So think about the barter system. Think about social media, YouTube, Facebook groups. Don't stop looking for help just because you got your first no or your second no, in my case. There's always more help out there if you believe that help is available to you and you allow it to come to you in whatever form it comes, even if it wasn't what you originally wanted. So, just to recap, there is great strength and courage asking for help to put yourself out there. If you put yourself out there and someone says no or ghosts you, don't make up stories about what that means. Just move on, because asking for help is a numbers game, just like sales. And there are a lot of different options, and those options may or may not be preferable to you. You can rank those options, but you're not stuck if you allow yourself to consider different avenues for help. So that's it, my friends. I hope you enjoyed this episode on the in and outs of asking for help. And as always, I am cheering for you and I hope that you get all the help you need. And I hope this episode was helpful to you. Don't quit. Don't stop believing, right? Because everything you want is out there for you. Whatever you are looking for is also looking for you. Will you be open to it and allow it? Is the question. So stay shiny, my friends, and I will see you next week. Goodbye.